Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndrew here with Bill Goldberg. How are we?
Ugh.
it's, it's been a little hectic. Lots
Man,
going
it's
on.
been going from 100 miles an hour to fucking hitting a brick wall. Whether it's my training or anything and everything else, my life, my son, my wife, my responsibilities, my car, uh, uh, you
Yeah,
know,
the car project.
our fetish, and I'm training for a wrestling match in front of millions of people in my underwear. Other than that, there's nothing going on. It's just it's a the worst part about this, I don't know the best part about it. I really don't. The worst part about it is the stress that's put on me, you know,
Yeah,
because it's a day, it goes by the minute, right? It affects everything. It's like, okay, I got to plan my food. I got to plan when I got to train. I got to plan this. And then it's like everybody else around me has a life too, So, um, it's a weird existence. I
yeah,
forgot what it was like. And, obviously I've been training a lot harder than I would have if I, uh, was 30 years old and I was in shape and working all the time, wrestling wise. So it's tough, man. This is a tough deal. I mean, you see it on paper and and you think that since you've done it before, it's going to be easy again. Well, it's never easy, but Um, it's tough. It's freaking tough. I got to tell you, I'd like to cut my head off, daily. It's frustrating. It's, you know, but there's an end goal there, and there's a reason why it's being done, and we follow that path and follow the plan, and hope it all works out. I guess the moral of the story is that you have to look at the positives, and the positives are that I'm in pretty good shape.
yeah,
I'm in unbelievable shape comparatively to 6 months ago. And so then there's that, So I am guaranteed for the most part that when I wear those tights that there won't be cheese sticking out of my butt. So um, you know, that
So
in and of itself is an accomplishment. So I should hang my hat on that one and have a smile on my face. So, hey, it's just I'm
yeah.
overwhelmed. That's all.
So I
Oh,
you've
we're
been
working on cars.
and you're working on a car. So you've been posting a lot of clips on social media from so many of your matches back in the day, from WWE, AEW, just throughout the gamut, and a lot of that was, truth be told, you were on the payroll. There was expectations. You would do it again and again and again according to the schedule, throughout the year, or however long the contract was. Was it easier because it was more predictable, or because now you're heading into one big match, but you want it to be one great match? So you're talking about the stress level. Is it more stressful now heading into one match, or was it more stressful back in the day having to do it again throughout, week after week for, years on end?
Well, it was easier doing it then because I was younger and my body was in shape for it and I could perform every week. And traveling was no issue and I wasn't as claustrophobic as I am now and not as much of a homebody as I am now. And I wasn't, a father like I am now. And there are so many more responsibilities and things that affect your performance. It's not just about you again.
Yeah.
So, um, well, I don't know. I mean, I look at each one of them individually. The fact is that this is my retirement match. So it's quite possible that I will never wrestle ever again. After this. And so, yeah, there's so many things that go into it, whether it's your preparation or your desire to entertain, at an unrealistic age in an unrealistic business. But I've been given this responsibility and given this opportunity, and you live it to the fullest. You try to perform at the highest level, and hopefully that at the end of the day, your timing was right and everything culminates to that final match, and people are entertained.
Yeah.
And I'm able to hold my head up high because of my performance and because of my legacy. And nothing can change what has been done in the past. And I'm very proud of what I was able to accomplish. And it's not like I'm checking out. I've been retired for a long time here. I just
Yeah. And more than once.
retirement, for time being. But who knows? This seems to be like a finality. But I mean,
Right. Just because like you and I have talked and there's other plans, there's other TV shows, the car stuff you're doing,
oh yeah, there's
Gage and his career. There's, that's why. It's not like you couldn't do it again if you didn't, if you wanted to, you could, but it's not something you have to do. And like I know this match you wanted to do for a long time. This has been in the works. You wanted a good retirement match. You didn't feel like it ended in the right way. So you wanted to kind of end it on your terms and be able to get into shape and spend a little time uh, leading up to this, right? So
absolutely. He gave me a little bit of control over it. That's
yeah,
all.
right. Nobody's calling and going, "Hey, you got 3 weeks. You're in the ring. 4 weeks. You're in the ring." Like, because you're just on call on a contract, and then you get the call or the text and go, suit up. You got 4 weeks, and you're like, uh, you know, I'm 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 on a college tour, like a summer tour with my kid. We're in colleges. I haven't seen a gym in months. Like, you can't give me 4 weeks to just get ready. It doesn't really work that way.
No excuses now, man. They gave me a little bit of time, and I think I've used it fairly wisely. And the hardest part is forget about the age. It's running your body hard to get to a certain point without injury.
Yes.
That
Oh,
that's
100%. And we talked about that before. It's just like how do you train and get ready and not get injured in the process? But I'll tell you, like you, you you planned it out, you gave it some thought, you knew what obstacles were going to be in the way, just like eating too much or doing whatever. But from starting with the stem cell therapy, trying to follow their rules of not lifting, not doing anything, let that take its effect, and then start getting into it, a lighter weight. And then as you started getting into the more active stuff, the Muay Thai, then getting back into the ring and practicing some of the wrestling moves, like you're right. This shouldn't be a 5 week process. This should be a 6 month process. You know,
I mean, and you then you take the age into consideration, and can you still do it, and is it still realistic to ask your body to do what you're asking it to do? And you know, I think I can do it.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we'll see, man. But hey, here's the flip side of it. I still got some time left,
yeah,
right? We don't know when the match is right now,
yeah,
and I know when it's rumored, and I would imagine that sometime extremely soon we're going to find out. But yeah, I mean, I've still got some time, which is good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
still at least
Good.
got 2 months or a month, something. I don't know, something like that. I've got 1 to 3 months. I know that.
Yeah, right. I mean, 'cause you were told it was going to be in the summer. We're getting up to it. So, but look, I'm glad the training's going well. The eating, I know it can be a lot, like physically a lot, but it's working. Like it's all working. You feel good. You feel strong. You feel like you're looking good. You feel like you're at a point where you'll be able to perform well, right? And that's the thing that you got to get it in your head. Like,
It's a
do you
mental
feel?
thing more than anything,
Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, 100%. So I know what I put my body through. I know what I've eaten and what I haven't eaten. I know what I've done, what I've lifted and not lifted, and kickboxed and done flipping everything, man. And the 3 days a week to personal training to get stretched and to get manipulated and to get cranked on. But it's my life. It's what I do. And I think if I wasn't doing this, then I'd go crazy.
yeah.
So
But when it's done, regardless of what happens in the ring, you can walk away feeling like you put everything you can prepping and making the performance as good as possible.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, to a point,
yeah.
you're always held back. I'm held back by injury. That's the biggest thing because I can go into Saturday when I go into kickboxing, there's going to be a 300-pound dude in there sparring with me. I mean, what if I feel the Lancey and throw a left hook really hard and pull out my bicep? All it takes is one shot.
Or break a toe. You've
All
done
it
that.
is.
Or break, I remember we talked about this before. The ring entrance, the
Yeah.
move you do, the
I'm
throws
gonna
and the
I'm
kick.
gonna answer this phone real quick to get away from that. Hey,
Yeah.
bud. Hey, hello. You're live on the podcast.
What up?
Gabe, I love you. I got to call you back.
All right, but I love you
Everything
too.
everything okay?
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Okay. I love you. I'll call you back. He's chilling.
Yeah. Apparently, it's
Whole
chilling.
different language from him.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we got some car stuff to get into as well.
Yes, let's talk car stuff, man. Let's
Car
get
stuff.
please. I gotta say, let's start it off by saying extremely soon, hopefully today, I'm posting a video which to me was one of the most outlandish things that I've ever heard of, seen, or actually done myself. And so let me set the stage for you.
All
So
right, hold on, hold that thought. Let me get this ad done real quick, and then you can get into this. I don't want to interrupt you in the middle of it, so let's get this out of the way. Our friends at Bet Online, it's the world's most trusting betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, we're deep into the NBA and NHL playoffs, or the finals rather. And Bet Online has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on pretty much everything, with updated odds on MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures. BetOnline remains to be the best online source for all your sports wagering info. In between the games, you can head on over to the BetOnline casino with all their top Vegas style games, including poker and their live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
did I
Okay.
tell you about my Rhino 19 PD?
Oh yes, yes, yes. The floor cleaner. Yeah, we were looking at that. So we saw I someone was working with on the floor cleaner. We actually talked about this before you even got it. I was just like, I think you were just getting it. I was like, I moved out of the warehouse when I was cleaning it. I go, the one thing I wish I had was like the big like wet sweeper, like even like the riding or the push one or something, just to get that.
It was you and Kindig. I saw Kindig doing a show, and I don't know specifically. I think it was at Lincoln Electric, and he was driving around on this thing, and it just got me to start. It's got me thinking, man. And
Yeah.
so I went online and looked at them up, looked them up, and then reached out to Rhino, and man, they were awesome. And they sent me one of their big bad boys out. The GM came out and showed me, personally how to do the garage. And it was freaking awesome. The thing is really cool.
It's like a Zamboni and it cleans the floors of that place.
I want the one that I can drive, but
They're
obviously
big, they're expensive.
I know, but this one wasn't cheap by any means. And this one, I mean, it works well. I want the one that I can drive on. It's just much more comical and a little bit. And I mean,
If not for that reason alone,
yeah,
just to
but yeah, absolutely, it's better content. But I mean, this one's got a 19-inch broom. The other one's got a 20, 24 or 26 or something. So I mean, it's substantially bigger, but this one's fine for the time being. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. The thing is awesome.
yeah, it's
I
a
walk
it's a
around in my
it's a
bare
cool
feet in my
piece.
garage.
Yeah. It's basically just like a giant, like it's like a Zamboni. This one's a push, right? So not quite like a lawnmower, but it's big. And it cleans, brushes. It's like a street cleaner,
It
that you
squeezes
see.
right behind it, dude. It's freaking awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
and it literally, I mean, by the time you get to one end, the other end's dry,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, the thing's awesome. I I couldn't live without it at this garage, honest to God. So um Yeah, and it's funny how I'm hooked up with all these rhino people, rhino wheels,
Yep.
rhino scrubbers. Uh, uh,
Now
um,
an actual rhino.
no, and I pet an actual rhino yesterday or two years
I
ago.
saw that. I saw
Yeah,
Wanda's post and you guys posted a picture. Maybe she did, but Wanda
yeah,
made
she
a post
posted
of
it, and we were at rhino wineries, right? And
yeah.
it's just one thing after another with this rhino thing, but yeah, it was pretty freaking cool, man. Touching
Get,
and hanging out with I mean, the thing was freaking awesome. It was unbelievable. The rhino was so freaking cool. It was just stood there though. I mean, and it's anticlimactic for us because we've got all these interactive animals at our house, and this thing just stands there and they say, don't, you've obviously got rules,
yeah.
because it's not our animal, so you can't get too close and this and that. So it was a very sterile uh, uh, interaction comparatively to Presley walking up in my wash bay, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Right.
a
But, listen, no one's going to be surprised if you step outside one day and Wanda's got one out there.
oh, I will be because yeah, I want a gorilla, man.
You
If
want a gorilla?
we're gonna get something dangerous, I want a gorilla. Same.
Well, I know most of the animals are there temporarily because they're there for some sort of treatment or
No,
rehabbing.
they're not. Not most of them. There's only two here right now that are not living here
Okay.
24/7. So I mean, you're right. It can be at any time there could be 20 babies here that
Yeah.
in for care, but we've only got two right now. We got a kangaroo in the house, and I don't know what's at the garage, at the barn. So um, that's a
Yeah.
win.
I at Barrett Jackson this past year, or was it this year? I don't, maybe it was the year before, I don't remember. But yeah, Wanda was trying to talk me into getting a kangaroo. She's like, you and Tammy should get a kangaroo.
Why
I was like,
not?
we live in an apartment in the marina. And she's like, you could walk him like a dog. And I was like, I don't think he's gonna get along with everybody else. She's like, probably not.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you'd have more people in California complaining that you own a kangaroo than anything.
Yeah. All right, car stuff.
Okay,
I
so where do I begin? Um,
okay, yeah.
let's let's
Uh,
let's get the well. I'll talk about the Cobra and then let's talk about the 2500, the 99 Ram, because I got some good update on that yesterday.
that's
I'll
right. I
talk about
forgot
that
about
now
that.
and get it out of the way. So I go to the Holden Brothers, which are local kids, truck guys, mostly diesel guys, right up the road, literally 10 minutes from my shop. And great kids, local, been lived here their whole lives. Gave them the truck, 99 Dodge Ram, 2500, 392 crate motor dropped in it by Mark Warman. The thing's, been restored or redone. It's on 38s now. It's just a monster. And with the two TRXs, it's great to have a ranch truck. And I haven't
And
had that
the
ranch
whole
truck
thing's like rhino lined. It's just
a
meant so
whole
you
thing.
can ding it
Yeah,
up and you can thrash on it a little bit, throw stuff in the
100%.
back. You're not worried about, the TRXs are all PPF'd and ceramic coated and
Oh,
clean
this is
and
180 degrees at the other end of the
yeah,
spectrum,
right.
for sure. So, and it's nice. It'd be nice to have something like that on a 200-acre ranch because then I don't have to screw up, the wheelies or the whatever. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
dedicated piece of shit ranch truck, right? But it's got a 392 crate motor in it. And Warman dropped it in, and the thing's probably got 50 miles on it, and it's probably got some nuts to it, and it could be fun. And every 18-year-old kid in town wants it, So I need to use it. It's been sitting here for years. So extremely long story short, I took it up to the Holden Brothers. We had a problem with the control box, the controller, the transmission controller. It's way out of date now, and it wasn't getting out of first gear. And one thing led to another, and it's been there for God knows 6 months. Finally got it running well. They reached out to the company that produced the controller. They gave us an update for it, a brand new, you know, not 20-year outdated
Right.
box. And with a lot of tuning and a lot of finagling here and there, uh, the pitman arm was like almost completely loose in the front. It was, I mean, the thing's just been sitting for a long period of time. So um, they finally got the thing running, and they are getting it ready for me to take home today. And we started talking as we're driving, and we're like, you know what? One of the kids mentioned, they said, didn't you mention something about you wanting to put a manual in here one day? And I'm like, oh shit, you know what? You're right. I forgot about that. And we've been doing so much with Mike Kidd lately with Tremick. It sounds like he really likes these outside of the box, projects.
Yeah.
And so it just got me thinking. I'm like, I'm literally right here taking delivery of my truck after 4 years of not having it. And I really wanted to give it right back to you before I even get it so we can put a manual in it. So obviously, there's other pieces of equipment that need to be added to the tranny to make this thing, do its thing.
Yeah.
And with the drive-by-wire and then the PCM with the crate motor. I mean, it's just everything's all mixed up. So I reached out to Kid at Tremick, and I said, "Listen, man, we're obviously up to our ears in what we're doing with the Cobra, but I picked up the truck yesterday from the Holden Brothers, and we were thinking this: how difficult is this going to be?"
Right.
He's like, "Man, it ain't that difficult. It sounds like fun. Let's do it."
Yeah.
So American Powertrain jumped on board, and they're going to provide us everything else we
And they're
need
great.
for the install, and that'll be great. And so, yeah, before I finish this freaking Cobra, we're going to jump on the 2500 and put a 5-speed in it, 5-speed manual. I can't wait. It's going to make that truck so much fun. I mean, a manual makes anything fun. I don't care what, but I really cannot wait to make that transformation. It's going to be cool.
It's interesting you brought that up because when we were talking to Mike Kidd from Tremick, I was thinking more about, with my 95 Lightning, I had a big like bowler transmission built, and it's stolen. Like nobody knows where it is. The whole crate, it's gone. Like somewhere lost in the move. Adam and Corolla had moved a couple times his warehouses, and I don't know, somebody moving walked off with I didn't even open the crate. It was a full crate.
Not like you can put it in your freaking pocket. The thing's got to weigh 110 pounds of
Oh,
beef.
it's more than that because it's a crate the size of a coffee table. It's got the full transmission, had the electronics. It was fully built, custom torque converter. I mean, unless it's stashed in a shipping container, on one of the properties that I don't know about, it's about 10 grand that just sort of walked off. I haven't seen it. And I started thinking about it when we had that conversation. I was like, I don't want to get too upset about it, but yeah, because I did buy that one, by the way. I was like, I don't know. I mean, if it's gone and we don't find it, maybe the manual transmission is the way to go. I mean,
Everything happens for a reason, kid. That's what I like to think.
yeah. If I find it, I'll use it and put it in because you're right. That meant I was meant to find it. But if it's gone, the F-150 was available and the Bronco was available with a manual transmission, so I can find the pedal kits and stuff. And now, like you were saying, American Powertrain, and there's like conversion kits and hydraulic clutches and things to make it easier. In your head, you go, if I go to a manual, it's like kind of a shitty setup before with cables and all this stuff. But now you don't have to do all of that. You can just do the hydraulic version of it, make it feel good, tighter, easier to do. And then from there, because that truck was available as a manual, you could find the pieces that you need. You can find the shifter and you can find, the pedals or whatever you need for it. So yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Interesting though that you mentioned Ram because I saw the new video, right? The video that Kaniskis put out with Ram, and it's funny because first of all, I liked him a lot, but he's always like a little bit awkward on camera. He's just slightly a little awkward, and his video.
I told her to bring him in.
His The video is like, I was gone for 7 months. I'm back. I'm the head of Ram. We lost our V8. We're bringing it back. And part of the announcement, of course, soon after was they're getting back into the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by the way, the truck looks good. The concept truck. They're going to come back in 2026 and race. The truck they built, whatever. I don't know what's really underneath it if it's a full running thing, but it's cool looking. Like they did a good job. Like the front end. I mean, you're limited on what you can do. It's basically just a truck body on their car essentially, but it's cool. It looks good. But it's talk about listening to customers, and they screwed it up with the Dodge Charger EV, the Daytona EV. And it would have been different even still if that car performed more. But Ram is going to bring back a V8, a HEMI V8, and it still is going to have less power and be less efficient and less towing than the Hurricane engine that's in there now. Just the customers don't really care.
But it
They just
doesn't look like shit.
yeah, they just
And
want the V8.
potential isn't there.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got to disagree with you. They didn't listen to customers.
Well, you're right. I'm saying
They're where
after
they
the
are.
fact.
Listen to customers. And yeah, after the fact, well, yeah, they came running back going, you know what? Okay, we're sorry. We screwed up. We
Yeah.
didn't listen to you, but now we are, right? So that's how they should have come out and said it, because that's
Yeah.
the honest to God truth, instead of saying, oh, well, we're now going to listen to you guys. Well, you're only listening to us because we made you listen to us, because you lost 42 million or however much money it was, you know.
Twice with the Charger and the truck.
I know, man. Well, you didn't ever see me put my Daytona video out, did you?
Oh no, no, no.
Exactly. So, I mean, I didn't want to negatively, chime in on their current EV product. I
Yeah.
just hush, hush, just let it go and pray to God that, they woke up one day, and they woke up one day, they picked up the phone, they called Kaniskus, and they started the process of making it right again. The trick to me is going to be them saying, okay, you know what? All along we had this great idea, and this is what we were going to do, but these guys stood in our way. Now they're out of our way, and we can do what we originally planned on doing for you guys, because we do listen to you, and we know exactly that you've made us who we are.
Yeah.
You know, that to me,
Well,
that's the better way of doing it. But it
look,
is.
how often is the biggest lesson learned is from a mistake that you've made. And with the Charger and the Ram, they've made those mistakes. So
But
yes,
they
now
were
you would think they
foolish.
would proceed with some caution.
Yeah, they were foolish mistakes. I think they were ignorant mistakes. And, they did the complete opposite of listening to customers. They didn't listen to customers. And that's what put them in the bind that they were in. And, the pocketbook hit woke them up, and they did what they had to do. I'm just ecstatic that they were smart enough to bring Tim back. That's
Yeah.
all. He possibly could have saved the company.
Yeah. And
So,
and as you know, you and I, for as being able to sort of peek behind the curtain and talk to other people, there's a sigh of relief among the
not only it's a sigh of relief in every respect. It's a livelihood sigh of relief. People aren't losing their jobs because they know that Tim is passionate about what he does, and the people that are there because of their passion for the brand are there for that reason, and that's why they should be there. And so they have security now, and they have a future now in that the handcuffs have been taken off. Tim lets these guys do what they do best. Mark Trussell is the first guy that comes to mind.
yeah.
Truly, he's got some unbelievable ideas, whether it's aesthetically or mechanically. And to let a guy like that go loose, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's and because he didn't know what to say during the EV
Yeah,
fiasco.
right. Right.
he couldn't say a thing, so it's a I don't
And the Chargers having the Charger EV, Alistair Weaver and I have talked about it a few times. They bought one and they've been having some problems with it. And although it's quick and everything, it
it sucks.
it
I'm
just
just gonna
didn't
come out and
it
say it.
it didn't like blow everything out of the water. They didn't go, we launched an EV and it is the coolest, fastest
Well, yeah,
thing
here
out there. And it just wasn't.
this was my impression. I went to Bradford. We all know that I went. I never posted the video. I never posted my response. Never posted my like or dislike of the vehicle. But here's the deal. I'm not an EV guy. You can have 5,000 EVs. It won't tempt me one bit whatsoever. I look at the logic behind it. I look at the technology behind it. I look at the lack of control behind it, and I look at that all being taken away from the one thing that I love more than anything, which is my relationship with an automobile. If dot but I was willing to listen.
There we go.
The
We're back.
fact is, I went out to Radford. I was part of the first group of press that drove the EV. I wanted to give my opinion. I people have an opinion of me and my opinion, and I want that to always stand true. I don't want to be a shill for anybody because I work with Dodge, and I have to say that their new EV is awesome. Being that they had the most popular badass engine over the past 10 years at least, and they completely scrap it as an ICE guy and a non-EV driver, that vehicle that you took that monster badass V8 from me as an EV currently better knock my socks off, or I don't, or I'm going to rebel. And it did not do that.
Right.
It did not do that by any stretch of the imagination. It would have evened the playing field, but it didn't.
Right.
And the interior on that car was beautiful. I loved it. They knocked that out of the park. The fact that it's going to be a four door eventually, it's going to be cool. The EV part of it, it didn't do enough to satiate the guys like me to say, oh, well, you know what? I might want to check that out because if I slam the throttle and it just smokes, it just rips the tires off the car. That's freaking fun. It didn't even do that.
Yeah.
Didn't do that. You
Yeah.
had to mechanically manipulate that vehicle in such minute little details to where you could cut the front batteries off. You got half the horsepower in the back, but you got to break the tires loose. So you got to do figure eights, and then you can get into the throttle, and then you can smoke the tires. Well, you should be able to just step in it, put the key on, and smoke the tires.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that.
Right. Right.
So that's where they fell flat.
So let me ask you this. Okay, take EV out of it. They're going to come out with, a two-door, a four-door with a gas engine. If they come out with a V8 and a V8 is, 465 horsepower, 485 horsepower, but they still have a Hurricane engine that's 540 horsepower, would you consider the six-cylinder turbo if that was the better performing
Not a
car
chance.
over the 8?
Not a chance.
No,
'Cause
you just want the 8. You just want the sound.
I know the ability of the 8 cylinder.
Yeah.
I know what you can do to it. I know how it can sound, even with the rudimentary exhaust system. Not to mention an X mod from MagnaFlow.
Yeah.
This thing sounds like a freaking NASCAR. It's awesome. So yeah, I wouldn't even consider the Hurricane motor.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen with the Ram customers is they're, you're going to go into a dealer and they're going to have 3 times as many Hurricane Rams and they're going to go, this is more efficient. It tows more. It's better gas mileage. It's got more power. And people are going to go,
Half price
I don't care.
and see if people buy them.
Yeah. They're like, Bring me the V8. By the way, the V8, I don't know if it's going to standard. It's going to have an optional. It's like a 48 volt mild hybrid system. It has a battery under the rear seat, no traditional alternator. The start stop feature will have like an electric motor so you can move the truck, if I understand that correctly. So it'll be more seamless. And it
Cool.
increases the torque and stuff. But there shouldn't be any reason why you couldn't still just modify the V8 and still have that as a supplemental system that makes it, you know,
Absolutely. That's all we're
honestly,
asking.
I don't think a lot of the V8 owners probably won't even care or even notice it's there. You know,
It doesn't mess with the performance
yeah.
or ability to perform with that motor. I don't care.
I agree. I mean, even with Ford and their EcoBoost and it performs well, but if you go and online and configure a fully loaded, like Ford F-150, you can't get the top trim models with the Coyote engine. You got to step down, so you can't get the nicer truck with the Coyote engine, which is why we see like Anderson Composites, their demo vehicle, that their SEMA build and stuff is a short bed standard cab. And like, I get it, it's cool and it's sporty, and they supercharge it, and it's got the V8, and they did a bunch of cool carbon fiber stuff and made a cool street truck out of it. But even if they wanted to, they couldn't have done that with the crew cab, platinum or whatever, because the V8 isn't available. And I wonder if that's going to change. I wonder if people are like, by the way, they did that subtly. Like, they didn't really, it just showed up one day on the configurator online, and people are like, where's the V8? Like, what happened to the V8?
I don't think I'd announce it.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody on the marketing side is going, we sell more of the EcoBoost. We just figure we do the EcoBoost. And I go, I know, but once you took the option away from people, that's when people are going to start really
So they
complaining
want it.
and stop buying the EcoBoost, because they're going to kind of force the issue, like you said. And again, Ram is the big example of it, right? They forcing the issue. You take away, like anything in society, you take away something that we really love, even if it's not doing that well, then you double down. Like manual transmissions are starting to make a comeback. A BMW Z4, even with a manual, it's like that thing. I'm pretty sure that's still out there and it won't die. Even a Miata, because you start threatening to take it away, and people are like, we'd rather have the manual.
They got one and more now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk current Cobra stuff, because
Cobra.
I got to get into this because this is consuming me. Okay.
Okay.
So the last time we talked,
Mm-hmm.
we were waiting for we were waiting for Beatty to send us the clutch,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. He called and said to
Yes.
be there in 2 days.
Okay. So to continue the conversation, the clutch arrived, but it was the wrong clutch. He sent us a double disc because there was one part missing from a supplier for the quad disc.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, put the double in, run it for a little while. We'll get the piece in for the quad, send it to you, pull it out, put it back in. Okay. It sucks, but yeah, it's awesome. I'm not going to
Yeah.
complain, right?
And it gets you on the road.
And it gets me on the road, right? So we install the clutch, and then the throwout bearing had to be changed, and we didn't have a puller. We didn't have a puller that was small enough, right? So we started. It took us 2 hours. We started manufacturing our own tools to get this freaking bearing out.
Yeah.
Then I started looking online to find out ways to get out the pilot bearing, right? I came upon a video and I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but they used bread to get it out.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Okay, so I just banked that. I'm like, that's the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. Um, so my mechanic Manny comes over. He owns Manny's Custom Builds. He's the guy, the Cobra guy. So Manny comes over and we get to talking, and he's like, "Yeah, my dad taught me how to take a bearing out with a piece of bread." I'm like, "Manny, you got to be shitting me. Are you just pulling my leg or what? Did you see the video online too?" He's like, "No, I can do it." And I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. Not a chance. Let's just go ahead and freaking make a tool and get it out. Everyone was closed. I mean, everyone was open. They didn't have the proper puller. Napa was closed on Sunday. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Manny, I'm going to the house and I'm getting a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Wait, you got
Oh.
carbs in the house? Yeah. All right.
You see
All right.
that
I
right
kind of
there?
see the picture. Yeah.
Okay. One side is the bearing, the other side looks like a cork.
Yeah.
That's a piece of bread. That's actually two pieces of bread.
Okay. How do you do it? Wait, how do you use a piece of bread to?
So we're putting the video together right now, and we're going to post it. It'll be up on Goldberg's Garage tomorrow, 1,000%. So pull everything off, flywheel, Okay, so you shove the bread in the crevice between the bearing, right? And you pack it in there as tight as you can. And you're using the measuring tool for the clutch.
Mhm.
Just poke that thing in there, man. You use anything you can. Then it was so compact that we got a really thick bolt, right? Turned it around, used the head of the bolt. Boom, boom, boom. 20 minutes, right? Shoving as much bread in as possible, keeping it in that crevice. I'll be damned if it didn't pop out after about 25 minutes. The freaking bearing, bread pushed this bearing out of
Okay.
the bar. So if you don't believe me, watch the video.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch this one. I'm curious. I gotta
It was
visually
really, dude, I got to tell you, I
see how
was
this thing works.
absolutely amazed. I mean, and if you think about it logically, it has to work, right? Because they go the weakest link gives.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other material you could shove in there. You couldn't use Play-Doh. You couldn't use, I don't know what you could use. But whoever came up with freaking bread to remove a bearing
Yeah.
is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life because it freaking worked. And
Yeah.
I'm absolutely amazed. So get the bearing out, put the other bearing in. But we used the tool to measure the bearing. We didn't use the tool to we didn't measure the length of the shaft of the transmission, right?
Okay.
Nor did we measure the circumference of the hole in the QuickTime bell housing compared to the casing for the transmission shaft, right? Because there's a little round casing that holds the shaft on there, right? So it's 8/100ths of an inch too small for the QuickTime bell housing.
Okay.
So we had 3/4 of an inch difference. So it wouldn't made in because the bell housing's too small. It's the wrong bell housing, right? So now we got to pull the clutch off. We got to pull everything off. The quad disc is ready now. So it should be here today or tomorrow. And now I'll be installing the clutch for the fourth time.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's the last time. And hopefully the bell housing that they're going to send will fit. So
Yeah.
thanks to McLeod. I appreciate it greatly. It's just I'm becoming a freaking clutch master here now.
I was gonna say, and look, you're getting content for good or bad. There's shit happening.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to show the times we screwed up so many times or just the flawless install of the quad disc, right?
Yeah.
You see is, what you don't see, you don't know. So, um,
But now you know what questions to ask as you're mocking it up to go, oh, what's the diameter of this? How's this going to work?
yeah,
Like, how's it going to come together? Right.
yeah. So I mean, it's better to measure twice than and cut once, I guess. So, um, yeah. Then I became a painter. We blew up a portable paint booth outside of Goldberg's garage on
Yeah.
Sunday, and I freaking I wet sanded that dash because we put 4 coats of clear on it. And so I had to wet sand it down because we had some dirt in it. And I've never done that. The meticulous sanding part. Started with 800, ended up with 1500.
Yeah.
Wondered why it was so hard and why I was sweating so much when I was doing the 800, because I got a 1500 mixed up with it. I went straight from 800 to 1500 and wondered why it took so long. Yeah, you live and learn, man. We got the I did it, sent the 35-inch tilt column out. It was fantastic. They sent an unpainted version. Manny, since he does all these Cobras, had a black one, a flat black one sitting at his shop, so I just switched it out. Um, Put the quick release, the wheel hub on it. Uh, put
Yeah.
that, put the steering wheel on, mocked up the dash. Manny took it after we mocked it up. He took it and he's clear. He's buffing it out right now, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. After you sand it, you still got to finish it. You got to buff it.
yeah. So hopefully this weekend we'll be able to install the dash. We'll get the clutch put in. Hopefully we'll get the transmission put in, so we can measure for the drive shaft, and then Fred Wicks hopefully has got that radiator on the way for us. I spoke with them, and they're actually having to get in tooling equipment because they didn't have what they needed to produce the radiator that I asked for. So that was very nice of them. God knows how much that's going to cost me, but we're coming along, man. We're coming
Did
along.
you get fitted into it like as it was coming together? The dash, the steering column, the steering wheel, the quick release. Like, did you?
That not yet because we haven't we haven't measured the shaft yet
Okay.
to find out exactly where it needs to go compared with where I need it to go. And unfortunately, right now the body's sitting on top of like a little uh, uh,
It's on
cra-
like a
cradle.
dolly,
It's,
like a
it's a
table.
dolly,
Yeah.
and there's no way that body is going to support me. It's just the
Yeah.
fiberglass,
Okay.
and so I got to figure it out. I really have to figure it out how we're going to do
Yeah.
this. Um, but the fact is that I'm probably just going to give myself as much room as humanly possible.
Right. I mean, you've driven the Cobra before. You know the situation. It's not like, hey, we're going to make more room and you're going to get into it and it's going to feel like you're in your TRX. Like, it's not.
No, but it's going to feel like a completely different freaking car.
Yes.
I'll tell
If
you
you could
that because
give yourself,
if nothing else, the ability to move my arm from here to here and then
yeah,
have a steering wheel that I can actually pull off, it's going to be an experience like a car that I've never been in before.
yeah, right. And knowing what you drove before, when this car was running, you know, any extra room you can get yourself 10% more is going to be significantly
Huge. I
different.
already
So,
have 3 inches that was given for the height of the seat. I got another inch because I switched seats out, and these are an inch shorter than the other one. So I got 4 inches of a drop
yeah,
compared to where it was before we're even really doing anything, right? Um, we're moving the roll bar is going to go from 2 inches to 3 inches, and it's going to be 3 inches taller. So, I mean, the car's actually going to be safe, quote unquote, comparatively. So, and it's going to be weird. I mean, the seats, I took the park and brake out, which was horrible. It was a little button. I'm going to put a vertical power brake in it.
Yeah, like
It's
a
going to
drift
be
brake.
fun. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But just the setup in the cockpit's going to be so much better for me as far as the driver is concerned and my comfort and the ability to really tool the car around as opposed to manipulating yourself while you're holding
Yeah.
on. It's just gonna be a huge difference. Huge difference.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting closer.
We are.
Learning some shit
We
on the
are.
way.
We're trying, man. We're trying. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Is there anything else we're missing? We're good.
I got lots more, but we'll save it for
We're
next
gonna
week.
save it. You got some videos coming out. I see some of the clips on social media as well, so follow along there. And yeah, looking forward to it. I can't
Back,
wait
we
to
got
see.
more content coming on Goldberg's Garage YouTube channel than we know what to do with. We just got to get it edited and out there. But we're
Yeah.
back. Follow along. We got the Cobra, and then we got this truck. We're going to jump on, and we're doing an M715 and my Coronet at the same time. So
Yep, still doing those. Right.
there you
Yeah,
go.
we got to check in with Salvaggio at some point.
I'm going to be up there next week, so mm, I'll talk to you about that next week.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap things up for today. Thanks so much for listening. Sorry about the little hiccup there in the middle. Yeah, it's the internet. What are you gonna do? Sometimes it breaks. Until next time, keep the air in the spare in the bag and the wheel.